Hi, welcome to our class on phonation. I'm Polly,
And I'm Alexis.
and we are going to learn about phonation.
Okay, I need to
Hey
study.
Alexis, what are we learning about today?
Phonation.
Phonation, that's my favorite restaurant.
It's not food that we're talking about. It's not a restaurant.
Oh,
Phonation is the creation of sounds in the throat.
what does that mean? What?
Phonation is the creation of sounds in the throat, but it also has a lot to do with the vocal folds vibrating. So here we have a clip really diving into the anatomy of the larynx to view phonation. Once the air passes from the lungs to the larynx, you can see the arytenoids moving the vocal folds as air passes through. Now, understanding the phonation process is really simple. When there is a high amount of pressure when the air passes through, high pitches are made. When there's a low amount of pressure, low pitches are made.
Yeah. So, what does phonation mean to you?
Phonation. Well, phonation is the vocal folds coming together, and then our breathing mechanism puts air through those, creating vibration, right? And that's really what phonation is. So the onset of sound and the continuation of sound, right, is phonation.
Great.
And of course, inside of that phonation thing, which I just said, is our onsets, right? And so those ways that we begin phonation, yeah? And do you know what those three are?
Aspirate, balanced, and glottal.
Good. Aspirate, balanced, and glottal. Which one are we looking for most of the time?
Balance.
Absolutely balanced. Yeah. So the balanced onset is where our vocal folds adduct, come together, and at the same time, air moves through them, right? So the other two are useful tools for singing, but aren't necessarily what we want our habit to be or the norm to be, right? So the aspirate, so two functions are happening, adduction and airflow, right? So with aspirate, what's happening first?
The airflow.
Airflow before adduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of the glottal, what's happening?
The adduction is happening.
Adduction before airflow comes through, right?
Yeah.
So the aspirate, when we finally get sound, and then the glottal, we've already got our vocal folds shoved together, right? And then that balanced, right? We can hear there's no air before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Phonation, it's a fun thing to work on, right?
An adduction is when you're adding something.
Yeah, they're pulled together. Okay. And then abduction, they're pulled
Yeah.
apart. Okay, that makes sense. It's just like...
Because when you're abducted, you're taken away. Like aliens. What kind of offsets are there?
glottal, aspirate, and balanced.
That was a glottal. Because I went, would be aspirate. I can't do balanced. You should do balanced.
No.
Do it one more time. That was perfect. God damn it. How does phonation impact you, Alexis?
Affects everyone because we're all creating sounds from our throat.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm a singer, so it affects me a lot.
Oh. In what ways?
So what does phonation mean to me? I actually wasn't really familiar with this term until studying it in this class and studying with Dan Greco. But a good example of that is working on aspirate onsets, or like breathy onsets in my voice lesson. So I'm currently working on I'm Not That Girl from the musical Wicked. And during a certain verse in the song, I need to use an aspirate onset. So what I do to do that is just use a lot of energy and try to feel like I'm just blowing that air out while I'm singing these verses.
Do you have any exercises to demonstrate how to practice the three different types of onsets and offsets that relate to them?
So offsets, we also use another word. Do you know what that word is? I've also used the term release
Okay.
Yeah? So, because when we offset, it's really not the same concept as an onset, right? So if I don't do a glottal offset, right, that happens, but it's not really an offset, yeah? So it's kind of release of phonation. I can do an aspirate release, right? Yeah. So, some exercises. Well, if we're talking about a student who has a tendency to use a glottal, who's just kind of built a habit in starting with glottal, it's a very common thing. It happens with a lot of people. And a lot of the popular music that we listen to today is full of glottal singing. Yeah? But to deal with that is usually something that often useful is just to go the opposite direction and show them what that opposite feeling is of going hyper aspirate. Ha, ha, right? And noticing how different that feels. Something that I also enjoy doing is using a right? So ma, ma, ma. If I can get them to thinking about things being here rather than here and focusing on the buzz. A lot of times we'll still get the in there, but it can be useful to feel the buzz up here, get some focusing about feeling that happen rather than this.
So how do we demonstrate phonation?
We've been doing it the whole time.
What? That's crazy.